All right. Hello, hello out there. If you are someone that is looking to grow your business, so you're an online service provider, you know how important it is to generate leads, right? I don't need to tell you that. We all need leads. But as you grow, one thing we underestimate is the amount of leads that it's going to take to scale and to sustain where we're at and to even scale. And so today what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through why you should be considering to why you should really be, investing in paid ads as well as organic marketing to take things to the next level. This is especially important for you if, in 2025 you're really just like, okay, I'm want to do what I'm really trying to figure out what I need to focus on to be able to take things to the next level. So definitely make sure that you are tuning in for this. Make sure you're tapping in, you're showing, you're signing, sharing this with somebody because this is going to be really, really important as we go into next year. I mean, as you're thinking about your marketing for next year. And so, what I'm going to talk about today is why you shouldn't be relying on organic marketing alone. And so, I'm going to talk about really kind of the dangers of depending solely on organic or depending solely on ads because I see that from both perspectives. So, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about how and why they work best together. And so, really, kind of like, what you're going to get from one versus what you're going to get from the other, and why bringing them together is the best strategy for you to scale as we go into 2025. And then I'm going to give you some actionable steps, right? Some practical stuff, some things you can do to start to think about and get those wheels turning. And so, before I jump into all that, my name is Stacy, and I am the CEO of Stacy Zeal & Co. And we are a growth marketing agency, and we help online service providers, online brands, scale with strategic marketing and Facebook ads. And so I'm a fractional CMO. I'm a Facebook ad strategist, and I've generated $150 million in sales with Facebook and Instagram ads for some, top brands like Zappos and Crocs and Nike, Adidas, all these different brands. And so I've taken all of that knowledge that I've learned directly working with Meta and working with TikTok and working with Pinterest and working with running ads on all these social platforms. And I've combined that with my 13 years of marketing experience and, working a variety of different places with like lawyers, coaches, consultants, all that kind of stuff. And so I've taken all of that and I've distilled it down into different frameworks that I use to help my clients to get success. And so if you are someone who is hitting a kind of growth plateau, like you had a lot of, and you had, a lot of growth when you started your business, and now you're kind of starting to see things level out, you're not experiencing that exponential growth that you're looking for, this is going to be super, super helpful for you because this is why, because I'm going to talk about why combining those things is what's going to help you to break past that revenue plateau. And all of my clients are investing in ads as well as organic marketing, right? Like we don't lean one way or the other. Our philosophy is that both are really important. And so throughout my career, I've managed, lots of different, ad spend. I've worked with a lot of different teams. And so I've really been able to kind of take all of that stuff and really figure out how do we not just drive traffic, but also build sustainable long-term growth. And so if you are really kind of, thinking about marketing going into 2025, you really want to have somebody come in, a team come in and take over, for you, essentially being able to lead your team and lead you and helping you to understand what you need to do to execute, to hit your numbers and to get things going. How do you blend paid? How do you make sure your organic marketing is actually really kind of focused? Then you definitely want to make sure you send me a DM because we are booking clients for starting in December and January, right? And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we get our clients locked in now, so that way we can use the rest of this year to make sure that we are doing the strategic things that we need to do to set up for a good year next year, right? So definitely make sure that if you are looking for that strategic marketing guidance, you're looking to have someone invest in running your Facebook ads for you, then you definitely want to hit me up so that we can talk about it. So all right, so let's talk about paid and organic, right? Because that's why we're here. So why relying on organic social or organic marketing is holding you back, right? So let me tell you, and I'm going to illustrate that by telling you a story. So I have a client who is, she's a tech founder. And initially she was focused on organic marketing, right? Like, so she had an idea for an app while the app was being in development. She was focusing on organic marketing, so social media specifically, right? Maybe this sounds familiar to you, right? Started your business, jumped on social because it's very low barrier to entry, using that to grow your business, using yourself to grow your list. And that's what she was doing, right? She grew her list to about 3,000 something people. And she started to realize that the bigger her list got, the more saturated it was. The less people who were actually, qualified or targeted people were actually making it into her email list. And that's a problem, right? That's a problem if you are, focused on a really specific type of client or a really specific type of audience, and you're starting to see that people outside of that audience are seeing your content. People outside of that audience are jumping on your email list, because you cannot control who sees your content when you are thinking about organic social, right? Or organic marketing, period. You can't really control who sees it. And so when we were, what we decided to do is we started to really kind of start running Facebook and Instagram ads for her. So that way we can really target her specific audience, which is, people of color in tech, right? That was her really, really specific audience. And so what we did was we started running ads, we started running Facebook and Instagram ads, and we were able to add an additional 4,800 people to her list in a few months. Right. And so we significantly grew the email list, but it's not just about the numbers, because now what we realize is that the people who are on the email list are really, really targeted and specific. Right. So when you're relying on organic marketing alone, the algorithm is going to decide who sees your content. Right. And there's all these statistics that show that, only 1 in 19 of your Facebook followers are going to see your post, right? Like only about 5% of your people are actually going to see your content. Instagram's reach has declined 42% in the last couple of years, right? And so the thing, there are the stats out there that show you that organic marketing is limiting your reach, right? Because that is what the platforms are doing, right? They want you to invest in ads. They want you to, to be successful with ads also, right? Because that's how they make their money. But so what we're going to continue to see is organic marketing. Organic efforts. The reach is going to continue to decrease, especially when you think about social, when you think about Facebook, Instagram, right? And you think about there's more people, more players too, right? Like there's, back a couple years ago, before COVID, not as many people had businesses, right? People had businesses, of course, right? But there was this big boom of people starting businesses in COVID. So everybody was jumping on social. Everybody had time because they were on social, right? And so all of these people were seeing your content. They viewed that your business was growing, all that kind of good stuff, right? But now we get to a place where attention, we're not home all day anymore, right? Where we can sit and just scroll Facebook and Instagram. But also you have a lot more people who started their businesses. So people are vying for the attention of your people, right? That's the thing. And so organic is very powerful to build community, right? Because we need organic marketing to build community. Organic marketing helps us to build those relationships with people. It helps us to understand the language that we are using around our marketing needs to be reflective of what they are saying to us. And the only way you can determine that is if you're having a conversation with somebody, right? And so you have to make sure you're still doing your organic marketing. You're still, investing in building community and having relationships with people. But the problem becomes when you are in the place that you're at now or going into 2025, when you're trying to see exponential growth, right? Like you're trying to get, to 2x your business, to 3x your revenue, right? We're not just trying to stay at the same level and just kind of coast along. And so you come, with paid, you get to scale, you get to have volume, right? So paid brings in the people. It helps to get more people to see exactly what you're doing and to see your content and to see your podcast, to see your quiz, to see your blog posts, to see all of the things that you're doing. And that's something that's necessary, because we are always going to need new people in our audience, right? You're always going to need new people in your audience. And the reality is that most of the people in your audience are not going to buy anything from you. And so that's why you have to focus on making sure that you have not only the right people in there, but you have enough of those right people. Because as people start to follow up, as people start to get into, purchase from you, right? How are you replacing those people, right? That's what you have to be thinking about. And that's why paid and organic work so well together, because organic helps you to continue to have those touch points with people and continue to have those conversations. It helps you to, get that feedback, have that two-way conversation that you're looking to have. But paid helps people who are not connected to you discover who you are. So I want you to start to think about it more so that way, rather than thinking about ads as an ATM. A lot of people think, I'm going to go to ads, I'm going to put some money in, and I'm going to get a whole lot of sales right out the gate. And that rarely ever happens. Right. But what you can do is make sure that the organic marketing that you're doing is you're putting it on a larger stage. So you're giving more people an opportunity to consume that content, to come into your world and to have that, hey, this person looks interesting. Now let me see if I want to build a deeper relationship with that person by getting on their email list, by watching their webinars, by watching their lives, right? All of that kind of stuff is important. And so you have to make sure that they're working together, because when they work together, that's how you build trust and awareness, right? A lot, in order for somebody to buy from you, they have to know who you are. So they have to know you exist, right? They have to know your offer exists or your company exists. They have to like what you have to say, or like your methodology, or like you as, like you as a person, right? Let's just be real. People do not buy from people that they do not like, right? And they have to trust that you can get them to the result. And they also have to trust that they are in the right place to be able to get the result through the offer that you're offering them, right? And all of that kind of stuff happens when we're investing in organic marketing. But how do we make sure that more people get into our funnel? How do we make sure more people come into our world? That is where paid shines. Right. So it's both, right? It's building that trust and awareness, right? Because people have to know who you are before they can buy from you. Okay. And so the other thing with, paid and organic working together is that you get data. You get significantly more data when you're investing in ads than you do with organic, right? Like, going back to the same client that I was talking about earlier, where we were running ads for her to grow her list. One of the things we were also testing was messaging, right? We had a couple of different messages that we were able to present with ads, whether, that's focusing on, maybe 3 different angles for which, to bring somebody into her world. And so we were able to see, not just, how many people were coming in from different messages. We also took that messaging and applied that to organic, right? You're also able to kind of take that data that you're getting and, apply it to your organic marketing efforts or your organic social. So that way you can start to see like, hey, this kind of messaging actually resonates with people. And with paid, you get that data faster, right? You can put something out there, you can get 1,000 people to see it in a few days, and you can make a determination about which messaging works best. Right. That is how that is what you need to be doing at this level of business that you're at. Right. You need more data than you're getting organically to be able to scale. Right. Because scaling is going to require you to be able to look at your numbers and say like, hey, this is my conversion rate when somebody comes into my launch. Right. If I know that my conversion rate is 5% and I want to be able to hit a certain number of sales, then I know that I can calculate to see how many people I need to come in my world. And, layering on top of that, that needs to be warm people. Right? Not just bodies, but people who know who you are. And so that's why you combine that organic marketing, right? You had paid ads to bring them in, but you're doing your webinars, you're going live, you're posting your social content, you're sending your emails, you're doing all these other, you're posting your podcast, right? You're doing all these different organic marketing efforts to warm those people up before your launch or before your next big promotion, right? So you get the bodies, but you have to warm the bodies up, okay? You have to make sure people know who you are and they trust you. And the data that you get with paid is significantly, more advanced and more, and goes deeper than what you get with organic. And so that's why when you combine the two things together, you get a clearer picture of what works for you and your business. Okay. And then the last thing there is that you get to nurture leads across channels, right? I remember I had someone who booked me for a podcast because she saw an ad of mine. She went and binged my Instagram content and then she reached out to have me come on her podcast, right? And so that was fantastic, right? It wasn't the intention of the ad at all. But here's the thing. You get to see people, someone will absolutely come and see your ad, but then the next thing that they're going to do is go check out your organic content, right? They're going to go and look at your Instagram. And if you haven't posted anything in months, if you haven't, sent out anything in months, then that's going to be somebody looking like, oh, wow, like, is this business real? Does it exist? Right? Like, is this a scam? So that's what you got to start to think about. And so when you're thinking about being able to show up across channels, right? You can use ads to bring people into your email list, right? But then also that person may look at your offer and the doorbell rings and they get distracted, right? The dog starts barking, they got to go pick the kids up from school, whatever the case may be. They leave your landing page without completing the action. You can then retarget them when they get back on Facebook because they're going to get back on Facebook, right? They're going to get back on Instagram. And so you're able to, use these platforms to, make sure that your content and what you're talking about is showing up to the people who've interacted with you, right? People need to see things multiple times before they buy things, right? I think it was like 7 times so you need to have 7 touch points with someone before they're going to buy from you. Do you have those 7 touch points, right? Are you actually showing up in a variety of different ways and, across a variety of different channels in order for people to be able to, for it to stick to them like, hey, this person, is someone who I can trust. This person is someone who I think, can help me to get the result. I have all the information that I need. Let me go ahead and book that call, right? Let me go ahead and, sign up for the thing or buy the thing, right? So you have to build that know, like, and trust, and you can definitely leverage your ads to make sure that, you're continuing to stay top of mind, right? You can use ads to get your podcast out there, right? Like get more, people listening to your podcast, right? There's a lot that you can do with advertising, and where you're at now, you have to start to think bigger. You have to think about how can I expand my reach significantly? How can I get more people who, to come into my world and to experience my podcasts and my blogs and my emails and my webinars and all the things, right? So that's what you want to do. And so let me leave you with a couple practical tips, right? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and audit your content, right? Identify which organic content performs well and start to think about it, amplifying it with ads. And no, I do not mean boosting posts. What I'm talking about is, do you have lives that perform really well? That's great content for ads, or at least cutting it up into shorter snippets to be able to use for visibility ads. That's some things that we do for our clients, right? There are different things, looking at some of the podcasts that you put out there, look at the blog posts that you put out there, running, I had a strategy session earlier this week where I was talking about if there's a blog post that works really well for you, let's make sure that we drive traffic to it, right? Let's, you leverage a, really inexpensive ad, which is, driving traffic, more traffic to the blog post, right? Get more people consuming that because it's a great entry point for people. Okay. So go through and audit your content. Take a look at all, what's doing well organically and figure out, is this a great place for me to put is this a place for me to put more people, put more eyeballs behind, right? All right. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to repurpose with a purpose. Okay. So, you using your organic content, right? You're bringing people into your world, but are you also telling them to take the next step, right? Are you also making sure that the people who are listening to your podcast are also, you're driving those people to your email list? Are you also making sure that the people who, read your blog posts are being retargeted with lead generation campaigns, right? Because if somebody, stumbles upon your blog, right? They stumble upon your blog, then they go get on Facebook, right? The next thing that should be kicking in automatically is you trying to get them on your email list, right? So you can, so figure out, audit the content, figure out what kind of content works really well, and then start to figure out how you can repurpose it. I repurpose the fuck out of my content, let me tell you. Okay. I sit and I will take a podcast episode, I turn it into reels, I send it as an email, it turns into a blog post, right? I'll post a story and that story becomes a reel. That's, that story, I write captions for social, that becomes an email, right? So you should be repurposing across your platforms. And that's sometimes why people get tripped up, is because they feel like they're having to, create new stuff all the time, right? Or creating only that thing and having it only live on to that thing. We just took, one of our clients had a webinar and we created, pulled some clips out of it for them to be able to post on organic social, but we're also, about to run some ads to it. So we can also, start to increase the visibility for a low cost, right? So these are the kinds of things that you can be doing when you're thinking about paid and organic working together, rather than feeling like, okay, organic's working over here, and now let me figure out, how I look at paid over there. Okay. And then you got to make sure that you are definitely, keeping up with your consistent routine, right? Because a lot of people lean so heavily into ads that they think that they don't have to post. They think that they don't have to do anything organically. So what is the cadence that you can stick to, right? If you send your newsletter out on Fridays, don't stop sending your newsletter on Fridays. If you post once a day, don't stop posting once a day because you're running ads, right? Stick to that, right? Stick to that posting schedule, but then also have ads running in the background, because then ads are going to bring more people into your email list. And so you get more people consuming your content. So don't feel like it's one or the other. I want you to really make sure that you're doing both. And that's really the purpose of this live. So if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'm happy to answer any questions. But what I want to make sure you also, understand is that I have a webinar coming up where I'm going to teach you all of this. I'm going to absolutely walk you through what your marketing needs to look like in 2025, right? You're going to walk away with a growth roadmap where you're like, okay, these are the core things I need to do marketing wise. This is what I need to focus on. This is how I support that with ads, right? So if you are a 6-figure or 7-figure online, service provider, you have a membership, a course, one-to-many offer, something like that, and you're looking to really figure out what do you need to focus on to exponentially increase your revenue, definitely want to make sure that you sign up for my webinar. Okay. I'm going to make sure I post the link down below, but the link is stacyzeal.co/roadmap-live. Okay. And if you show up live, you will get my marketing ROI calculator. And this is a calculator that we use to figure out how many leads does my client need to actually have in their system, in their ecosystem, in order for them to hit their goals, right? If their goal is X and we know that, their conversion rate is Y, how do we figure, what is the number that we need to have in our pipeline in order for us to take things to the next level? And that's a number that you absolutely need to know, because then you can start to see where are my numbers coming from, right? Like how many leads am I realistically getting in every day, every week? and where do I need to get to if I want to, hit a certain sales number. So make sure you head over to that link, sign up. There's links all over my profile. I'm going to drop the link in this when I finish. But make sure that you head over and sign up for that webinar, because it's really, really going to be important and impactful for you as you plan out 2025. Okay. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and drop here. If you're watching a replay and you have a question, please feel free to drop it below. Otherwise, I will talk to y'all on the next live. Bye.